Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another edition of the Log Show here on WSJU and here on YouTube with the new and improved camera angle that, I seem to be enjoying. With me is my co-host. We've been missing him for a little while. He is back. My man, Eric Garay. How you doing today, Eric?
It's been good. It's been a busy few weeks for me. That's why I haven't been here. I apologize.
No, yeah, completely understandable. We're happy everything's okay. Everything's going well, and everything's going well in sports too. If I'm going to be honest, we talked about it. I talked about it a lot on Tuesday.
Unless you're South Carolina.
Well, true. I talked about it a lot on Tuesday. You weren't here for it. One big thing: Thanksgiving was a great day for NFL football. I feel like, in my opinion. We talked about that whole Eberflus thing. I talked about. I had one big rant. You could say your opinion on this too while we touch on it. That I feel like not enough people were talking about Caleb Williams' play in that final play. I feel like a lot of people just were quick to just go, "Oh my God, that's all Matt Eberflus's fault." And I didn't mean that in the way that none of it was Matt Eberflus's fault. Obviously, at the end of the day, the coach has the timeout. My point was when you look back at that play, the fact that the clock is ticking down, you're looking at Caleb Williams call out the mic and fix his throwing glove is problematic.
Yeah. I think some blame has to be put on him, considering he is the quarterback. He is supposed to be the leader of the team, but at the same time, he is a rookie quarterback. Not saying that. He should have experience in his years playing in college ball, but some of it is definitely on Matt Eberflus, who's now been let go. But I think Caleb Williams does have some responsibility as well, just to have a bit more game awareness. And I understand that this is something that's going to come with time in the game, but you just have to be more aware if you're going to lead a team that's been slowly falling since their relatively good start. It wasn't like a hot start, but they were doing good enough at the beginning of the year, but it's really just gone downhill.
Yeah, no, that's the crazy thing to think of is this team hasn't won a game since that heartbreaking loss in Washington.
Yeah, that was.
They were 4-2 going into that game. You know what I mean? They moved to 5-2 after that. That's an incredible start for this Bears team. But instead, what we saw was that heartbreaking loss, and then just everything crumbled around them after that. Not only that, we talked about this a little bit beforehand. There was the hit on Trevor Lawrence that was definitely super controversial last week. While we're doing this little recap to get your opinion on stuff. We talked about it a little bit before. I feel when I watched that play a couple times back, I do feel that Trevor kind of slid a little late there. When you do break it down really second by second, it is a split-second decision that Azeez Al-Shaair has to make there. Especially when, if you pause it right before he slides, I see you have the video up. Look, he's still technically considered a runner right now.
Yeah.
Which part of that's also on the rules. I'm not saying this is all on Trevor Lawrence. I'm not trying to blame Trevor Lawrence for him getting knocked out at all. And I do also say that Al-Shaair throwing the elbow in is where it starts to get really questionable. But when does it become a point where – I rose this question on Tuesday, and I want to ask you this. When does it become a point of we're overprotecting a quarterback so much that it's no longer protecting him? You know what I mean? And, we brought up the fake slide with Kenny Pickett earlier when that happened in Pitt. I had the show. I think I was on YouTube at the time too, so you could probably go back when that play happened and go back to me talking about that fake slide. And I'm not a big fan of it because of the way that quarterbacks are protected. Is you open up the idea of a fake slide, you then open up the idea of this happening on every single time a quarterback slides. Because as a defender, where we paused it right there, where that clip pauses it, Trevor Lawrence can very well, until that point, if you go one step before that, he could very well fake the slide and stay up. Before, you know what I mean? Until he fully clicks out that heel and goes into the slide motion, you could easily plant that foot and stay up. And Kenny Pickett showed that you could easily do that.
I mean that's a rule that they changed in the NCAA. I don't think they've made that rule yet in football, but I do remember the Kenny Pickett rule, which came in after Kenny Pickett did that. But I mean,
Yeah,
it's it's so tough. It's such a tough play, especially on. I don't know. I think it's rough on Trevor Lawrence.
I think it's tough on both sides. I think it's a really tough play on both sides because on one side you're sitting there, Trevor Lawrence, you want to protect yourself, and I completely understand that. On the other side, as Aziz Al Shair, you can't you can't pull up in that situation. Like where he is on that play and stuff, you can't really. You have to hope for the best. And what I think you have to do in that situation, if you are Al Shair, is try to dive over him, which I don't really think he does. I still think he goes for
Yeah,
the hit.
no, he definitely goes into him.
That's what I'm
Like he
saying.
yeah he
So
definitely
that's what.
lowers his padding, his shoulder padding, and goes
Yeah,
right
that's what I
into him.
mean by like at the end of the day, it's not a perfect play and it's something you hate to see. But I don't think it's like I think people are like ripping Aziz Al Shair as like this dirty player. And I don't think it's necessarily a dirty play. I think it's just a play that you hate to see happen.
I forgot who it was, but I saw someone saying that because I mean this is a designed run play. I mean he fakes rolls out left
Yeah,
and he's definitely trying to run the
yeah.
ball. I saw someone say that like why did he even slide? Why didn't he try to get a few more yards or like try to evade or run out of bounds instead of going straight down?
That's also my question, which what I was trying to kind of allude to with the protecting when is protecting them almost too bad is like when is it a situation where especially now where the quarterback runs are so prevalent in the game of football today, where it's like because like you're saying, if you look back at that play, if Trevor Lawrence lowers his shoulder, that's a routine tackle. No one's getting hurt
Yeah.
there. Like if he just puts his shoulder down,
And just
that's
like
a
kind of tries to eat it.
yeah. Just tries to eat contact with
Yeah.
contact, which is what people are taught in football.
Yeah.
Like that's a routine tackle.
Yeah.
But instead, we end up with this tragic play that you end up where. I mean, I'm happy the Jags made the right decision in telling Trevor, "Hey, just go get shoulder surgery, go sit out the year.
Yeah.
There's no reason to risk it at this point with there are." But I do think you end up in a really odd and interesting situation with Shair. And I don't know. I have. So here's the thing, right? Shair was suspended 3 games, correct?
Yeah, I believe so.
Houston has a bye this week.
Yeah, 3 game suspension.
So, like, I don't know. And I know you can't maybe. I know I'm thinking of this in a weird way, and maybe you can't sit there and make suspensions, you know what I mean? Differ suspensions based off the time of year. But are we not saying that with them having a bye week this week, suspending Houston's defensive captain for these 3 games, right? Miami at Kansas City versus Baltimore. But he'll come back against Tennessee.
Tennessee, yeah.
Is that not almost a bigger punishment than getting suspended for the first 6 games of the season?
Yeah, I mean this is crunch time for all teams in the NFL, but I mean Houston still trying to climb their way up and like secure
And at a
their
time when
spot.
right now Indianapolis is running. Like this division isn't sealed for Houston, in my
No,
opinion.
that's why they're still trying to fight
Like
for that.
Anthony Richardson is playing really well. This Colts team is playing really well. So like, I don't know. That's why I say. I mean, it's hard to say that you can if this happens in week 1. You know what I mean?
Cuz like
A 3 game suspension. I'm not complaining
so like
about.
the Colts have to play Denver, which is a tough game. Bo Nix is playing pretty good football right now. I mean that whole team is playing some pretty good football right now. Then they play Tennessee,
And then they come to New York.
and then they come to New York, and then they play against Jacksonville.
Yeah.
Which is
Like,
they could win 3 out of 4 there.
and I'm not saying obviously Houston has a lot of good players on defense outside of Aziz Al Shair, but to say that this isn't a huge detrimental that's why I think giving him 3 games off rip makes sense. Him appealing it and then upholding the 3 games, I think, is a little ridiculous. I think 2 games would have served well, especially those 2 games being Those 2 games being Miami and then at Kansas City. So it's an okay team, and then one of the most important games of the year. So he is sitting out before a big game. But the NFL did pretty much look at Alshire and go, like I can almost argue with the way that they suspended Alshire. It's the NFL admitting that yes, this is a dirty play.
I mean, yeah, I mean, it's definitely a dirty play in my opinion. I think it's as much as it's probably rough on any defensive player who goes into a tackle like that. I think it's rough, and I understand that quarterbacks get a lot of protection, which is sometimes warranted. Sometimes it's like, I mean, some can argue sometimes it's not warranted. But I mean, this is really really bad loss. Like you said, Houston still has to play Miami, Kansas City, Baltimore, Tennessee. They need to win 3 of those games essentially to secure the top spot. They need to win 2.
Yeah.
But I mean, my these are not easy games at all. So it's going to be very interesting to see how. I mean, in general, just how this plays out, but especially for the Texans without their top guy on defense.
I mean, bro, the playoffs are they're really heating up. We have the situation in the AFC that we were just talking about with Houston, Indianapolis, which is seems a lot closer than it is because Houston's sitting at 8-5 right now, or 8-4, or 8-5. I was correct because they have the bye week coming up, and then Indianapolis, you have at 6-7. So, like saying those records, you feel like Indy would be out of it, but the way that both the teams are trending right now, it just seems like it's going to come down to the end of the year. But then what I find interesting is this race. Miami at 5-7, right? You have the Denver Broncos in the playoffs right now at 8-5. That is the worst AFC team in the playoffs currently. Do you think Miami has a chance to run at them? Denver's got a bye week this week. Then we have Indianapolis, which we talked about. And then they have the Chargers, Cincinnati, and then they end the year against Kansas City.
Broncos have been playing some good football.
But here's the thing: is that Miami, you have the Jets twice at Houston, and then the Niners and at Cleveland. Niners very diminished, not playing well. Probably not going to make the playoffs, which is crazy to say.
I see Miami going 3-2.
What, 2 wins over the Jets and the Browns?
Broncos are playing good football.
That puts them at 8-9 though. That means the Broncos would have to lose out to give up that spot, I guess.
Which I don't think they're doing. I don't think they'll lose to the Chargers.
Also a crazy team I throw in there, and I throw this team in there because they play Denver. Also, like Indianapolis does. You think Cincinnati has a shot to make a run?
I don't think so. I think it's gonna be.
I think if they beat Pittsburgh this week, I would have said so.
Yeah.
If they were going into this week 5-7 after a good win off of Pittsburgh,
it's rough. They still have to play Pittsburgh again. They got to play Cleveland. They play Dallas on Monday.
Yeah, Denver, like we said.
I don't know. I think it's a little.
That whole AFC North is really interesting, though. I've yet to be able to watch that first episode of Hard Knocks. I've seen clips.
I know. I've seen clips.
I've seen a lot of clips from it. I like the clips I'm seeing from it, but bro.
I love James Winston, though.
You got at this point. Do you think Baltimore is even going to win that division? I think Pittsburgh might have it in the bag at this point.
Pittsburgh might get it.
Which is crazy to say. The way Russell Wilson has clicked down there and everything has just been so refreshing.
Yeah, it's kind of been crazy because, it was supposed to be Justin Fields, and then he goes down, and Russell Wilson is just completely taken that position for his own, and he's doing really well.
Yeah, no, 100%. KC and Buffalo both have clinched their divisions, which is not surprising to anyone. KC suffered their first loss to Buffalo a couple weeks ago. We had that. Buffalo at 10-2. I mean, those easily look like the 2 best teams in the AFC.
It's probably going to be the AFC Championship game, which is, as always, cinema.
Now, I will say the only whole playoffs I could sit here and say could upset someone is the team we were just talking about is Pittsburgh.
Really?
Because of the way that Pittsburgh plays. That identity of Pittsburgh, the identity of Pittsburgh football has been the same since You know what I mean? Since the steel curtain.
Since Mike Tomlin and
No, that's what I'm saying. Even before Mike Tomlin, with Bill Cowher, and the identity of the Steelers has always been this tough team that's going to punch it down punch it down the throat, just consistently just run it over and over and over and just out tough you. And they've continued that with Mike Tomlin, and they've continued that this year, where like you look at a situation where like there's the game against like Cincinnati last week, right, where it looks like they blew them out. But if you look at the way that Pittsburgh scored throughout the game and the way like the box score is set up, like Michael Lombardi, a former GM, was on one show talking about it, and he said it like this, and it was a perfect example, in my opinion, of how it looks, and it was and now I'm blanking. Oh, he said this. He goes, "The way Pittsburgh beats you is like when you're getting beat in a boxing match by a professional boxer, not a professional fighter,
Mm.
where they're just like it's close in the first quarter, where it's close in the first round, but they just wear you down throughout the game, and then all of a sudden they have 44 on you,
Yeah.
and you're done."
Yeah.
And they've just I don't know. I'm a big fan of the way Pittsburgh has played this year so far. Yeah, I am. I really am. There's a lot there. There really is with Pittsburgh. I think they're a big sleeper team out of anyone in the AFC because Baltimore, I think, is too riddled with injury. Plus, I think their secondary just can't get it done. Denver's too young. Chargers are too young. Houston just seems like they're falling apart. You know what I'm saying? It just doesn't feel.
I agree. I think it's gonna be Bills Chiefs.
AFC seems weak. I mean, the NFC. This is also. I've been thinking about the NFC outside of literally the division of the NFC North and the Philadelphia Eagles.
It's weak.
It's really weak.
It's weak.
Don't get me wrong. I'm a big fan of Jaden Daniels and the Commanders. They're not that good.
It's weak. I mean, right now you have the two teams tied for the NFC South that are both 6-6, the Falcons and the Bucks.
That's what I'm saying. And then you have Seattle at 7-5. You have Arizona and the Rams both one game out.
At 6-6.
And Arizona plays Seattle this week. So
right now, right now it's.
I'll tell you this, man. I'll at least say this about the NFC. The schedule make. I was saying this before to you too. The schedule makers cooked, bro. Like the schedule makers absolutely cooked, right? LA at 6-6, right? Fighting for the NFC West. You want to know their last two games of the year?
Talk to me.
Arizona, who's also 6-6, and week 17, week 18, they play Seattle. Arizona plays Seattle this week. Plays, like I said, the Rams in 17. Plays the 49ers, who seem out of it, but it's hard for me to count out Kyle Shanahan ever.
Yeah.
So you never know. I mean, CMC's done for the year, so I feel like they're probably done. But
if we look at the current playoff picture, it would be we would have the Chargers playing the Texans. Winner of that plays Kansas City. We'd have Steelers Ravens and Buffalo Broncos. We would have Kirko versus the Vikings. So it would be the Vikings versus Atlanta.
see, now that you just made me, I've never thought I'd say this in my life because I hate the Atlanta Falcons.
Yeah, you do.
You just kind of made me want the Atlanta Falcons to win our division because just for the storyline of Kirk
playing against the Vikings.
Yeah, in Minnesota too.
And the winner of that game plays against the Lions. And then we have Green Bay, Seattle, and then and then we have Washington versus the Eagles.
Bro, that's what I mean, bro. Like
NFC East matchup.
Bro, you have Green Bay plays Detroit tonight, which is going to be a banger of a game. We'll get into that in a little bit. But like I was saying about the schedule makers before, they play Minnesota week 17. Minnesota plays Green Bay 17, and they're in Detroit week 18. Like, Philly still has to play Washington again, and that division isn't technically sealed.
Let's see, the Falcons are in only because of head-to-head
Yeah, over Tampa Bay.
over Tampa Bay because they won both their matchups, which is huge for Atlanta.
Yeah. I don't know, man. The playoffs. It's heating up. The NFL
We're getting to the thick of it.
bro. It's heating up. It really is. Now this is where I thought the big conversation was going to be today. Sorry, NFL fans. Thursday night football tonight. Shout out Packers. Shout out Lions. That is going to be a great game. If we want to do the quick preview, who you got? I don't know what the spread is.
I love the Lions. Give me the Lions.
Lions have a lot of defensive injuries. They struggled against the Bears last Thursday. I think I'm taking the Packers based off the fact that I think this is a more important game for the Packers than it is the Lions.
Yeah, because they got to win to stay in it.
The Lions still have, and even if the Lions lose tonight, they still have breathing room in the division because they have the tiebreaker over Minnesota. They have the tiebreaker over Green Bay. So, like, they have a breath. Green Bay needs a win. Green Bay slips to 9-4. That's a problem. So yeah, this is what I was transitioning into. This playoff is heating up.
Oh my goodness.
There's a better playoff though.
Oh, is there?
There is. College football playoff. Did you see the rankings drop?
I did.
Let me pull those up.
I did yesterday.
Real quick. Let's see what you think first.
I feel bad for South Carolina. I think they are overrating the ever-loving whatever out of Alabama.
Bam! Roll Tide!
Roll Tide!
Roll Tide!
Roll Tide! I think they're disrespecting the ACC. What else do I got? I still don't
disrespecting SMU. You think they need to be higher than number 8?
I think they're disrespecting the ACC in general because if SMU loses, then they're out. But they've been a good team.
Okay, that's what I was saying this to my friend earlier, and you told me you shut me up earlier because you wanted me to
save for the pod.
Save this comment for the pod.
Save for the pod.
So this is where I argue, right? So are you going to sit here and tell me if Clemson beats SMU, are you putting Miami in?
Miami are what, 9-3?
They're 10-2.
10-2.
But their 2 losses are Georgia Tech and Syracuse.
Syracuse is a good loss.
Because here's the problem.
Cuse are good. That's a good loss.
No, but here's my problem.
The loss to GT's bad.
This is all I'm saying. Here's my problem. If you, as a committee, when you made this playoff and you said how the 12-team playoff was going to be set up with these buys for the division winners, right? You made an emphasis. You said it. You said we are putting an emphasis on winning conference championships. And making, you know what I mean? And winning in the regular season, making conference championships, right? But then if you're going to go and take SMU and knock them out of the playoff and put Miami in, you are now telling me that not playing in a conference championship is better than losing it.
Yeah. Which is insane. Because they also said, well, first they were like, oh, yeah, no, we won't punish you if you lose your conference championship. But clearly,
that's what's going to happen.
To get punished. Like they're not going to make it if they don't win.
Now here's where I'm going to say it's not as big as a punishment. If Miami doesn't get in, right? If SMU loses, and the first 2 teams out are Miami and SMU, then I understand it. But you can't have SMU lose to Clemson, right? Now you have a 9-3 Clemson as your conference winner.
Yeah.
Who more likely than not is going to get that bye, right?
They are going to get the bye.
You have SMU at 11-2, who I'm going to argue, even though Cuse, I know you say isn't a terrible loss.
That's not a bad loss.
It's a worse loss than Clemson.
Probably.
You know what I'm saying?
Cuse is a ranked loss, though. They're both ranked losses.
But I think so you have that. I don't know. There's a lot that could shake up this weekend, I think, in the conference championship.
Yeah, it's not even just due to, like, playoff. And their other loss is BYU. That's not a bad loss. That's a good loss. They have 2 good losses.
Because I think where things could get really shaken up and really interesting to start, and I think this is going to start to shake up, because this is the one, I said it before, this is the one conference championship where I think this is going to happen, is if Georgia beats Texas. Because if Georgia beats Texas, right, you're then making Georgia the 2 seed.
Yeah.
You're then making Texas the 5 seed.
Yeah.
Because they're better than Penn State.
Well, that's also depending on who's going to win.
I bet on Penn State to lose big games always. Penn State is I can't James Franklin, I think the coach's name is.
Yeah, I think so.
He is not good in big. I don't try. He's like Ryan Day almost, where they just don't win in the big. Like, he just doesn't win in big games consistently. I don't know what his exact record is, but I know it's very bad. I know he has double-digit losses and single-digit. It's like 2-12 type in big games. Like, it's something like that. He's.
Yeah, I don't. It also depends on who's going to end up winning that game.
You have the Arizona State-Iowa State game, which is interesting.
That's going to be huge as well. That's awesome. It's such a huge game.
What happens if UNLV beats Boise? That's crazy.
That's also crazy.
Because
then UNLV is in. They get knocked out completely.
I think with Boise being at number 10, right, and how good Ashton Genty has been this year, I don't know if a lot of people realize how losable this game is for Boise State. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, UNLV is a very good football team, and they're a very motivated football team. Because I got reminded of this earlier when I was talking to my friend. This is the same UNLV team that had their starting quarterback leave them at the beginning of the year because of this NIL deal. This is a motivated team.
Yo, I forgot.
So did I. And then someone brought that up to me earlier. This is the same UNLV team that started off poorly and had their quarterback say, "I'm sitting out the rest of the year because my
he just didn't get his
NIL
money.
My NIL was not met."
Yo, I forgot.
And then they ended up going 10-2. I don't know. There's a lot.
Yo, I low-key forgot about that.
Like,
I mean, yeah, because the Arizona State game's also huge. Because if Arizona State loses, Iowa State's in.
Yeah. And who do you want to play more if you're a 5 seed?
If I'm the 5, oof. Yeah, I don't know.
Bro, can we talk about how electric the first round of the playoffs is going to be, though? Outside of matchups.
I love it.
There is going to be a home playoff game in Penn State, as of right now. In Penn State at Beaver Stadium.
Yeah.
At the Dog Pound.
Yeah.
In Georgia.
That's gonna be crazy.
In Ohio State.
Yeah.
And in Notre Dame.
I mean the Dog Pound didn't scare Georgia Tech. That was crazy. That game was nuts.
That game was nuts. That game was nuts. That was shout out rivalry weekend. Shout out, the whole weekend.
Bro.
The whole weekend.
Bro, oh my goodness.
What do you? All right. This is what I think.
Michigan.
I gotta throw this out here real quick. With all the fights that happened.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
If you were on, we'll use that example.
Yeah, go.
If you're on Ohio State, you're an offensive lineman. For Ohio State, right? You guys just lost rivalry. Rivalry so bad that if we went to Ohio State, this M on my keyboard would be crossed out right now.
Literally.
You look over, and they're planting a Michigan flag in the middle of the field. What are you doing?
Well, I'm crashing out.
I'm reacting just like Ohio State did.
I'm crashing out.
Yeah.
But at the same time, right, like, we lost the game.
Yeah, I know.
Don't lose the game.
No, I do agree with that. My thought is this, though.
Don't lose the game.
My thought is this. At the end of the day, you could beat me by 70. You could rub it in my face all you want. What you're not going to do is plant your flag on my home field.
That's true.
You know what I
That's
mean?
true.
Like, that's the one thing that no matter how bad
That's
you
true.
beat me in a sport,
That's true.
you're not doing that.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I agree. I agree with that. Like, but I think what I'm talking about is like a lot of that. So there's just a lot of stuff that went on, especially in that Ohio State Michigan game. That's like, bro, don't lose.
Oh yeah, no, Ohio State.
Don't lose the game out.
That I'll completely agree with. Ohio State completely.
There were some shenanigans going
on. Completely blew that game themselves. That was completely Ohio State's fault. But
there were some really bad play calls there.
That's also what I'm saying. I'm sorry. Even with that bad loss to Michigan, I don't know.
I couldn't run the ball.
I could just be biased against them. I don't think Penn State's that good.
I don't think Indiana are that good.
No.
I really don't think.
No, I'll agree with that. But I think Indiana's one of those teams where it's kind of like how people kind of feel like South Carolina is right now. Where, like, this is one of those teams where if you put them in this year, you're proving your point as the committee instead of proving the other way. Yeah. Where right now with them putting Alabama in, everyone's like, oh, so it's the same thing.
I have no
but
idea,
if they took 3-loss Alabama, it was like, well, South Carolina's the hottest team in the country right now. We're gonna put them in. For a lot of people,
I can't believe that Alabama
with a bad loss to a 5-5 Oklahoma team too, bro. At home.
And yeah, also the loss of Vanderbilt. Also,
who's the third loss? I'm blanking on it. Is it Georgia?
No, it was.
No, they beat Georgia.
It was
Didn't they?
Oklahoma, Vanderbilt, bro. I not remember. Bro, they beat Georgia. Lost Vanderbilt.
It's a bad loss too. Is it South Carolina? It's someone in the SEC.
Oh, Tennessee.
Tennessee. That's exactly who it is. They lost at Rocky Top. Yeah, I don't know, man. I think you could put Ole Miss in over Alabama too with that win over Georgia.
Bro, there's so much going on.
It's crazy.
This is great. I like this. I like this playoff format a lot.
This is also what I just noticed. Oh wait, never mind now. I forgot ASU was a Big 12 team now.
Yeah.
So I was gonna say there's no Big 12 team in here. What if?
Yeah.
What happens if a couple teams lose here?
Yeah, that would be Iowa State if Iowa State win.
Yeah. I don't know. A lot gets shaken up. This is gonna be a fun conference championship weekend.
Dope.
It's gonna be really fun, man.
And I'm gonna be watching all these games in my nice resort in Palm Springs, California.
Don't rub it in. Don't rub it in over there, all right?
It's beautiful. Oh, man. I got pictures already.
He's got the bathing suits in the bag. He's got
80-degree weather. I got my pickleball paddle, like
that warm Pacific Ocean.
I'm so locked in. I'm so locked in for college football.
College football is gonna be great. I mean, NFL is heating up too. I mean, we didn't really talk about this week's slate since we do still have a little bit more time if we want to pull it up.
Yeah, let's do a quick little pick 'em.
What week are we in? 12?
We're
14?
14. Which is crazy.
Insane.
Bro, that's the thing about
football. NFL goes by so fast.
Like, even college football,
bro.
like, it actually, like, goes so fast.
It goes by so fast.
Which sucks.
And then all of a sudden you're in February and you're watching the Super Bowl with your friends and you're like...
I'm watching
the Chiefs win the third straight.
No, see, I didn't want... I'm watching the Ravens lose to the Vikings, in the Super Bowl.
This is on recording. We have that.
I've said this from the beginning. I have the Vikings winning the whole thing. So I'm doubling, tripling, quadrupling down on that, John.
Yes.
I know it's being recorded.
Yes. When there was no cameras and Eric wasn't on the show yet before the season started, he definitely said that.
I did.
Definitely believed in Sam Darnold.
No. See, I didn't believe in Sam Darnold. I've been saying this since Kirk was there. I've been saying this since Kirk was there. And then they drafted J.J. McCarthy. I was like, wait, I kind of like this. Kirk left and J.J. McCarthy.
If I was going to close my eyes looking at the standings real quick, we're going to watch Kansas City Chiefs
defeat the Detroit Lions.
Play. I don't know who's going to win.
It'll probably.
They're going to disappoint me again, but I whenever they're in the playoffs, I have to pick them. We're getting Kansas City Green Bay.
Whoa!
Jordan Love, baby. Josh Jacobs. Xavier McKinney, Defensive Player of the Year. Give me the pack, baby.
The Go Pack Go. You got Go Pack Go in the Super Bowl.
I don't know. I'll put it this way, because my vision is blurry. I see green.
See money's man.
So it's either the Packers or the Eagles.
I don't see the Eagles.
I see green. I can't tell which shade it is, though. I can't tell how bright it is.
Right. I
Can't tell who's back there
right,
at quarterback. But I see
got you.
green on the NFC side. I won't lie. Let's start with tonight. Speaking of green, Pack Attack travel into the Dome.
Yeah.
Play the 11-1 Lions. Lions are missing a lot of people tonight. I probably should have pulled up, instead of NFL.com, ESPN, because ESPN shows me the IR.
Oh, that too.
The Lions are missing a lot of people, including three of their starting defensive linemen, if we're counting Aiden Hutchinson as one of those defensive linemen. They're missing both of their starting DNs, missing a starting cornerback, missing 2 starting linebackers. They're missing a lot. And the Packers have Josh Jacobs. So personally, I'm taking the Packers to just have Josh Jacobs have 25 carries for 102 yards. 3 touchdowns.
I have a statement win coming for the Detroit Lions, showing that they can do it.
Detroit at 12-2 would be a crazy thing in my life. Something I thought. I remember when they went 0-16. I was alive for that. I watched football in 2008. So I was alive for that 0-16 season.
Shout out Megatron, though.
I never in my day. You know what's crazy? It's funny. I'm getting a little off topic here, but before we get into Sunday's games, it's funny how, like, when you become a sports fan, you've obviously seen this in baseball, how I've seen it in football, because you're more of a diehard baseball guy. It's funny how you see those teams that were terrible when you were a kid.
Yeah.
Really good. Like the Chiefs being a dynasty right now. I remember when the Chiefs went 1-15, had the first pick in the draft, and like they were an embarrassment.
Yeah. It's like watching the Cubs when they were really, really bad in like 2013, 2014. Winning, and then they won the World Series, which was nuts.
Yeah. Or it's like, I'm trying to think of something else in another sport. Like, it's like the Knicks right now. Like me growing up, the Knicks have always been so bad. And it's like I'm hearing the media be like, I'm taking the Knicks to win the championship, and I'm like,
they're better win the cup.
I'm like, we are better win the cup.
Better win the cup
because that matters.
Trophy's a trophy.
I'm sorry, and I'm sorry to all you basketball fans. I'm sorry to the NBA, but I'll look in the camera and say this to you, Adam Silver. If you think anybody actually cares if they win that God-forsaken Emirates Cup, you're wrong. The only reason the players care is because you're adding a bonus. It's because they get money. They care about the money. Nobody cares about your stupid in-season trophy. Just my opinion.
Some may say.
Just my opinion. But let's finish this up here. Jets in Miami.
Yeah, it's gotta be Miami.
Yeah.
The Jets are trash.
You think Aaron Rodgers returns next year?
No.
That's such an interesting situation.
Well, because his contract's up this year, correct?
Technically.
Bro. If he does, it's not as a player.
Do you think he retires?
Oh, that's the thing, though.
Like,
he would announce his retirement before. Actually, he would announce his retirement before, like before the season of his retirement, so he gets a tour.
See, here's the thing: is at first I would usually say that. I don't think Aaron Rodgers cares about a tour anymore.
Nah, I know what you mean. He's all the I don't.
Documentary coming out. If you guys are interested in that weird human, there is a Netflix documentary of him coming out of his offseason, this past offseason, recovering from the Achilles.
That might do numbers.
Doing ayahuasca, the whole ayahuasca trip down to Puerto Rico.
Yeah,
I'm definitely gonna watch it.
Yeah, that might do numbers.
I'm definitely gonna watch it.
That's feeding family.
Falcons into U.S. Bank Stadium to play the Red Hot Vikings.
It's a Viking. It's always a Viking.
Yeah.
It's always a Viking.
Saints at Giants. It hurts me that I'm not going to this game this weekend.
Why not?
Because I can't. We were gonna go for my dad's birthday. A lot happened. Hurts. I wanted to go.
I'll take the Saints now.
I'm taking the Saints. 2-10 Giants with Tommy DeVito.
Yeah, I'll take
a really bad defense.
Yeah.
The Saints aren't going to win as bad as they have in the past when I watched them play the Giants, but they are going to win.
Yeah.
Panthers, Eagles.
Yeah, I mean.
In Philly, too.
By a million.
Yeah, in Philly, too.
By a million.
Browns at Pittsburgh. Can Jameis do it twice?
Dude, I love Jameis. You know what? If he doesn't throw more than 2 interceptions, yes.
I'll tell you this. I agree with that, but I want to put it in more of a fun way. If Jameis Winston does another pregame interview, like he looks like he's on meth.
Something.
Bro, when he did, I'm so blessed to be out here playing in the snow. Bro, I love that, man. Jameis Winston, if you somehow come across this small little podcast on YouTube, I will do anything to have a conversation with you. Jameis Winston, if you like me as a person, I will scratch this whole myself podcast. I will throw Eric on the curb, and we could start a podcast ourselves.
That's literally okay. Because it's Jameis Winston. Like, I'm okay with that. Genuinely okay.
But I don't know. I'm gonna take the Steelers.
Save him from the pick sixes.
I'm gonna take the Steelers. Raiders, Bucks.
I like the Bucks.
I like the Bucks too. In Tampa Bay, I really like the Bucks. Mac Jones and the Jaguars going into Tennessee to play Will Levis on the Tennessee Titans.
Will Levis for the memes.
Yeah, watch. I'm going to get memed by laughing at this game. Watch that game be 17-14 off like a 64-yard game-winning field goal. Like, watch that be game of the week. Seahawks at Cardinals, which I think actually might be game of the week.
You know what? It's also very interesting implications for that division. Give me Kyler.
Oh my God! Give me Kyler. It's all clicking. The Cardinals lost last weekend. It was double XP weekend last weekend.
Give me Kyler in the
Cardinals. Fresh off double XP weekend. Give me Kyler Murray. Give me Kyler Murray. Kyler Murray just got Prestige 3 in COD. Yeah, he's chilling. His guns are diamond.
Yeah, he's good.
He's good. Yeah, he's chilling. Bills go to LA to play the Rams. Von Miller revenge game?
Give me the Bills.
Yeah, give me MVP Josh Allen and the Bills.
Fuck us.
Bears, do they finally do it?
Against?
The San Francisco 49ers.
San Fran haven't been great this year.
They have not.
You know what? Yeah. I'm betting against the Niners.
This is how I do it. There's one betting thing that shout out Pat McAfee show that I shout out a lot on the show for teaching me in the betting world. Teams off a head coach firing always get a boost. Give me the Bears.
New manager boost.
Give me the Bears.
In soccer. New manager boost.
Chargers going into Kansas City.
It's going to be tough for anybody going to Kansas City right now.
What's the weather in Kansas City this weekend?
That's a great question.
Because it is getting cold. And if the Chargers can see their own breath, I'm going to take the Chiefs. By 1 million.
The weather on Sunday is going to be 55.
Okay. Not terrible. It's a warm game. It's a Sunday night game. This is a Sunday night game. That's a good Sunday night game.
I still got the Chiefs though. I fear.
Nah. They need to lose. Give me the Chargers.
I love it.
Give me Jim Harbaugh. Power of the high five.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it.
Power of the high five.
I love that.
Monday night. Cincinnati Bengals, Dallas Cowboys.
If the Bengals are going to do it, they got to win this game. Give me the Bengals.
Yeah, Sam. Sadly, could this be the last season we see of Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase together?
I really hope not, because that duo getting all the way to the Super Bowl was insane.
That duo was so fun. That duo also just going back to back when they were in college together, and it's great. It's great.
Yeah, give me the Bengals. I don't think they're going to make it all the way, but they got to start somewhere, and I think this game is a part of somewhere. I love picking against the Dallas Cowboys. My dad's a Cowboys fan, so I always love rooting against the Cowboys. I'm gonna take Cincinnati on the road. But that's all we got for today. Yeah, that's all we got for today. Sorry if it seemed a little low energy, but just getting back in the flow of things. Getting back. Both tired, hey, we're students, guys. We got finals coming up. We're studying. We got work. He's about to go to California in the morning. I am about to go. I'm leaving at 6:30 in the morning. Give us a little bit of a break for the energy, but great show nonetheless. I had a great time. Thank you, Eric, for coming out today. Hopefully, we'll be here on Tuesday. If not, don't worry about it. I won't be here on Tuesday. You won't? Oh, yeah, I'm coming back on Tuesday. Yeah. So he will not be here on Tuesday. Hopefully, he will be here next Thursday, though. Sneak peek for that, possibly back in the studio, my professor, Mr. Weber. Tommy Weber! So we could have that next Thursday. Thank you guys all for tuning in on the YouTube, on WSJU. I'm Logan for my co-host, Eric Garay.
We will see you guys all soon. Peace out.
Bye bye.